Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it is Saturday, and I'm actually streaming. Hooray! Sorry about not having streamed all week, but we are here with the Star Trek stream, and my good friends, Skeptalk.
Hi, everybody.
The One-Ton Hammer.
Hello.
Dr. Functional.
In space!
Or Fleet Admiral Functional, as I should say.
You can call me Fat for sure.
Fat. And Irate Prostate.
Yo!
And today's stream topic is courtesy of Skeptalk, who saved the day, because, 3 hours before the stream, I'm still like, hey, anyone have any ideas? And he came through with actually what I think will be a really interesting discussion. Kind of almost looking at things from a hindsight perspective, knowing what we know about how each series went. If the writers had this, clairvoyance while they were creating these series, what changes might they have made? What plot twists might they have used or not used? What cast picks would they have, kept or changed? So, that's our topic today. So, and Skep already had some choice. He said a certain officer would not have joined the crew of Deep Space Nine if I had my way.
Nana Visitor just was a failure as Kira. That was just a failed casting thing as far as I'm concerned.
What I would have done, honestly, is I would have not even had Kira in the thing. I would have done a switcheroo in TNG.
Bro.
Had Ro get killed, or not get killed, have Sito defect instead of Ro. Have Sito be sent on that undercover mission. The one that Ro was sent on, where Ro ends up joining the Maquis. I would have had Ensign Sito do that, and I would have had Ensign Ro transfer to Deep Space Nine and kind of make her way up to, maybe get some sort of promotion, and be like sort of a Bajoran liaison, like a Starfleet Bajoran liaison type of deal.
Oh, totally. Because right out the gate, Michelle Williams, fantastic actress.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what
her portrayal of
Michelle
the Admiral
Williams.
in Michelle Williams.
Who's Michelle Williams? Who's that?
That's Ro.
Ro Laren?
Ro Laren is Michelle Forbes.
Michelle
Forbes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right. Michelle.
Sorry, Michelle Forbes. Incredible actress.
Yeah.
Her portrayal, as not only as Ro, but in Battlestar Galactica as the
Right.
Admiral.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like just showing her range of being that proper military commander to like almost a complete psychopath.
Like a Commander Quig.
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff here that we're not counting for because
Sure.
No,
Michelle Forbes didn't want to be on DS9.
right. She was
said, "No, I'm
slated to
not gonna
be
do it."
right. She was slated to do it, and she
And Shannon Phil got rid of acting altogether, so she was never going to be able to be in DS9.
Yeah. And that is a factor. But I'm
It was
saying,
written for her. It was written for Michelle Forbes.
You could tell.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
could tell
Oh, yeah.
it was written for her because
It was
she
just
would have.
It was just a bad replacement.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
she
deal.
would've-
All right, she was on the fast track, and she pulled a Denise Crosby and said, "I'm too good for this shit." And then she made a couple of decent movies, and then she ended up back in TV acting. It's always
Couple
that
movies.
they don't want to get stuck with that Star Trek stigma. Yet, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, they love being the Star Trek people because that's the only people that are giving them attention. So I'll shut up. I'll shut up now.
No,
Horse.
that's
you're
a good
spot
point.
on.
That's a very good point. Because Denise Crosby did do that. She bitched about her character, and then so they killed her off, and
Terry Farrell too.
Yeah.
At Zia, like
Well, when she just decided to leave, wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
she just tired of playing it?
Yeah, she didn't like the role. She didn't like the pay. Blah 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 blah. But how many years later in the documentary, she seemed very remorseful that she gave up the last season.
Well,
Yeah.
given what happened with Esri Dax, I can see the regret.
Yeah.
Well, she left them to do a sitcom, and it was a dismal failure. It was about a bar. It was kind of like a Cheers ripoff.
oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and she was the bartender, and the chick that played Alexander's mother. I can't remember the Klingon lady. She was in a couple episodes of it too. Yeah.
She
Kalar.
was fantastic because she not only played
She's
Kalar,
funny.
She not only played Kalar, she played Doctor. What was her name? Dr. Solar, the Vulcan doctor. She played. She was a couple of different female characters.
What was her name? Susie Williamson?
I don't know.
That was a joke. I don't know her last name. Susie something. Susie Q.
Another one that you might want to think about, the guy who played Garrick. I really loved the character of Garrick, and I thought he was well played.
Yeah, there's not really anybody else that I can
Visualize,
You know how there are some people where you just go, okay, no, right? Like he's not one of them. There's nobody else that I can picture playing Elam Garrick other than what was his name?
Andrew Robinson.
Gavin
Yeah.
Robinson. Yep.
Yeah, there's nobody else.
Well, it's like,
Like-
all right, so he was the bad guy in Dirty Harry, the first movie.
Oh, was
and
he?
Yeah, and he was also. It just slipped my mind.
Yeah, he's 80. He's been around for a while.
He's been around a while, man, and everything. Hellraiser. He's the dad in Hellraiser, the first
You know
movie.
what? I need to rewatch Hellraiser.
Dude,
I have
But
not
it-
watched. The last time I watched Hellraiser was on my dad's, watched tons and tons of times, recorded off television VHS versions.
The only
So-
person.
So they're
Sorry.
all garbled and
Yeah,
whatever.
it's underwater talking. Right?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The only person I could think that could come close to Robinson was William Sadler, Sloan, his counterpart in the Federation.
Maybe.
And that was
Maybe.
one thing that I wanted to see. I wanted to see something about Section 31.
Something more, yeah.
A little bit more in depth, because all we really get is Sloane's lies, obfuscations, half truths. That type
Yeah.
of character's exposition. We don't get to see anything concrete. It's all just left in, and I like that. Don't get me wrong. But if there was
Maybe
better
one or two
handled
more
in
episodes?
STD, or handled somehow in the future, or even in the past through Enterprise, to show us how they work behind the scenes without anybody knowing about it. Because Sloan says that they've been there since the birth of the Federation.
You know what would have been interesting is working Section 31 somehow into, it would have been kind of interesting if the Message in a Bottle episode had kind of taken a twist and put into a two-parter where Section 31 shows up and is like, excuse me, hologram, how in the fuck did you get here? Right?
Or
they've
even
taken interest in it.
A post DS9 buddy cop sort of spin-off with Garrick and Odo working for Section 31.
Or working against them, maybe. But
We're drilling way down into these, and that's what we do because we're basically all nerds at heart. But I wanted to just shift us back up. I wanted you to tell you who almost was cast as Spock in the original series.
oh, there was a different.
He was offered the
Who
part
was?
before Leonard Nimoy.
Okay, who was it?
His name is Martin Landau.
No
Oh, wow.
way.
Way,
I can see
way.
that.
Space 1999.
I cannot
Yeah.
see Martin Landau as Spock. I just,
Oh, he's in
He-
Ed Wood too. He won an Academy Award for Ed Wood.
I think he could be a Spock.
Yeah, he's got the eyebrows already.
Absolutely.
You know,
He had the-
you know what?
he had this.
What he told them? He passed
tell
on.
them?
He passed on the role because he
All about
said,
the
"I
eyebrows."
can't play wooden. I can't play. I can't play that straight emotionalist logic. I have got too much emotion to do it." And that was his rationale for turning down the role of Spock. I shit you
Seems
not.
kind of a cop out. If you're a good actor, you can do all that.
I bet he had a bunch of projects going, and this TV
Yeah.
show and the space
He was
opera
on
really,
it was
unproven.
Mission Impossible. That's what he was doing.
He
At
was
that
doing
point.
Mission. Yeah, that's right. He was doing Mission Impossible at the time. He was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it."
Guaranteed bank, dude.
Yeah, Martin Landau was a smart guy. And, anyway, but I just thought you'd like that little anecdote.
Did you know that Brent Spiner didn't want to do Data at first?
You told me that, and I had never heard
What's
that.
the story?
So his agent called him up and was like, "Hey, they're auditioning for Next Generation, right?" And he and for this android, and Spider's like, "Oh, I don't want it. I'm not really interested." And he goes, "Dude, it's just gonna go for one season. Just there's nothing else right now. Just take it." And Spiner's like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever." And then,
The rest is history.
the rest is history.
Right. It's a perfect storm.
And
He made
I-
a lot of good friends because he's still friends with a lot of people in the cast. So
he is, yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
Cool.
that's another person that, like, I can't picture another actor like as Data. I just like the voice in it for me because of the whole blind thing. The voice, I cannot hear in my head another voice to portray Data. It's just and this probably is not what Brent Spiner wants, but every time I hear him in a movie, like in Independence Day, right? Because he's the creepy lab guy, the creepy guy in the who's
Crazy
alien.
scientist.
Yeah, and when I heard him,
I love that
I'm like,
part.
yeah, and when I heard him, I'm like, oh, it's Data. You know, and and it's probably not what he wants, right, as an actor.
Right.
But I mean, it's just such an iconic voice. You can't not like. There's nobody else that could, for me, be Data. There are a few people that, you know, maybe the role of Kira might have been better if it was a different actor. Like, the character of Kira, for me, is interesting, right? Like, a Bajoran counter-terrorist, or, counter-terrorist is what I would call her, a freedom fighter.
man,
who
he can mix the
now-
whole role for me.
For now, you think so? You don't
Yeah.
think the whole role is, you think
No,
just the
her,
idea?
Keiko. There's a lot of people who can go from DS9.
Keiko, yes. I never. There wasn't really a need for Keiko, I don't think. I honestly think O'Brien probably would have been better. Like but the thing is, he's a great dad. He's a great
Do you
dad.
need to know that?
But we don't need to know that.
And it's
He-
Exactly.
It
He
sparked
would've-
one of the funniest parts of DS9 in its entirety. Did you hear? Keiko's pregnant. What now?
Hey, hey guys, I just had an idea. I just want to see what you think of this.
okay.
Everybody pick your favorite smaller part, not one
Okay.
of the main stars from any series, who was so pitch perfect in the role that it just stands head and shoulders like almost one of a kind. So you can't pick, the most major performers, but
So
somebody
no bridge crew, like secondary.
you could pick Nurse Chapel, but you couldn't pick Sulu.
Right.
Okay,
I got
Gotcha.
you.
and I've got one.
Okay,
Ready?
what's yours?
How could
James Darren as Vic Fontaine.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Can we pick people who weren't regulars, like an only one-shot deal?
Sure.
I would
Yeah,
think so.
Absolutely. We're looking for the great performances. I just love the Vic Fontaine character, partially because I
do
like
too.
James Darren. And he was just note perfect in that role.
He did a great, like, he was a great singer, first
Yeah.
of all. Great, carried
His
himself.
presence.
Carried him. He had the charisma of a 1960s
Las
barman.
Vegas singer.
Yeah, Las Vegas singer, a Las Vegas performer.
Sure.
And then he had the depth when he was talking to Rom.
And he could really get the singing done.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
When him and Avery Brooks sang together, that
Yes.
was awesome.
Yeah, that was incredible.
So,
The best is yet to come.
come.
Yeah, that was a great.
So that's my pick. Somebody else talk.
You go. Sorry.
Can I pick Michael Eddington?
Sure.
You know
Because I
what?
think he
You
was
could.
underutilized up until they made the whole he defected to the Maquis angle, which I thought was great unto itself. But before that, him coming in as like head of Starfleet security on the station, his interactions with Odo, I think it was a little downplayed.
I do. I think I would have liked to see more friction between him and Odo.
Friction showing how he is a strategic genius.
Yeah.
Why they had to bring in a strategic operations officer like Worf, not only because he was a Klingon, but because they needed a strategic operations officer, who Eddington was up until the defection. And I just would have liked to see that character fleshed out more, because the actor, I don't remember his name, he hit that on the money.
Ken Marshall.
Ken Marshall, thank you.
He was great at making you hate that character.
But I
He
still
did
felt
such a great job.
I still felt empathetic to the cause. Like the Maquis were sort of pushed to the side for a while.
Yeah.
And then he revived it, and I was like, oh yeah, these people who've been displaced from their homes and told by their government that they can't live in their homes anymore, like that kind of resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I want to hate you so much because you're going against the Starfleet principles and everything, but I kind of agree with him.
Yeah. And that's what makes him so detestable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see where he's coming from, but
You
you're
know
like,
why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was no qualms.
and the friction. I would have loved to see more friction between him and Odo, because that would have put more weight to the line, like when he does defect and Odo and Sisko are talking in Sisko's quarters, and Odo's like, when Sisko when he goes to leave, he's like, could you pass a message to Starfleet security
That I was against this from the go.
yeah.
Yeah, and there really wasn't that sort of tipping point or that development of why he was so sympathetic to the Maquis.
Yeah.
Because he was portrayed for his inception to that turn as, your neat and tidy Starfleet officer,
Yeah.
career man. There was no connection. Even later, you hear about his wife. His wife was in the Maquis, but he didn't meet her until after.
Yeah.
You didn't see any connection to him with the Maquis, and the sympathy angle that he might have for the Maquis only goes so far, I think.
Mm.
Another one you might want to think about. I'd like to hear some opinions about this, because I definitely have an opinion here. Majel Barrett playing Loxana Troy.
Perfect.
She was excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
That would be my number 2 choice.
Mine.
As the perfection choice.
Oh
yes.
yeah, mine is Kalar.
Oh, interesting.
Because as Kalar, I can't remember her name, but she just nailed that sarcastic,
Jackson.
the way that she carries herself, and the inner struggle between her Klingon
And
side
human,
and her
yeah.
human side.
Yep.
She pulled it off so well, and her interactions with Worf were great.
Yeah,
The
she had a
fact
lot
that
of
she was
subtlety.
used so many times in Star Trek proves that
Yeah.
she's a good actor because she was
Yeah.
Kalar, Solar, a Q. I mean, she's been in all of them. So, and she's nice and tall. I
Easy,
think
big
for
fella.
she's easy on the ice. I think I think for a single shot character, I think that for me, probably the one that would stand out for me would be Saul Rubinek as Kivas Fajo.
Yes,
I
that's a
saw
good pick.
I saw the dailies for the character before they picked Saul Rubinek because the original character committed suicide. I don't remember his name, but those original dailies are awful. They're awful compared to what he did as far as the character development. He was much
amazing.
better.
He did
He's a great
such a
actor.
good job. He like the impish yet completely calculated,
Maniacal, yeah.
maniacal, psychotic. Like, I'll just do whatever I want to get whatever I want.
Oh, complete sociopath. Yeah.
And
Didn't care about anyone or
he
anything,
did
just him.
such a good job. He did such a good job. It was
For a repetitive character, I'd probably go with Jennifer Hetrick as Vash.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
a good pick.
I think there's a lot more room for her to grow in those
I
roles.
agree.
There should have been something between her and Beverly Crusher. I really think vying for Picard.
You know what I would have wanted to see is I would have wanted to see what happened in the time between when Q convinces Vash to go with him and when they show back up on DS9 and she's like, get the fuck away from me.
Something happened there.
I want to know what happened. You know?
Yeah.
I
There's a story
really
there,
wanna
right?
know what happened. Like, what happened in the Gamma Quadrant that made Vash just be like, okay, I don't want anything to do with you.
We can make an educated guess. He was Q.
Cute.
That's what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, what exactly Q thing did he do? Because there are many things that he could have done. All of them would have been really fun to watch.
I think
Yes.
it would boil down to one word: boredom.
Yeah.
With Q, that's
That's
what
Q.
Another one hitter that I really liked, and this might be a little bit controversial, was Stephen Hawking.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was
when he's
great.
Played him.
not the Apple story again.
Newton and
Wrong
Einstein,
again, Albert.
Do you know when he did that, he actually actually asked to be on the show.
I would
He
imagine.
initiated that,
Yeah.
and it was when he was the he had the distinguished chair in math at Cambridge. I mean,
Okay.
one of the most pinnacle paramount math jobs on earth. So demanding, it's unbelievable.
Right.
This guy writes him a letter and says, "I'd like to be on Star Trek." And Leonard Nimoy says, "You're going to be on Star Trek," and made it happen.
Can you imagine the writers and stuff getting that letter?
Oh my God, they must have freaked. They must have just loved it.
Yeah, there's like, you don't say no to that.
No,
Yep.
no, you don't.
And that kind of inspired me to think of Moriarty. Because they put him and the Countess in the queue. But come on, man, it's Moriarty. Bring him back for a third time. Have him kind of escape the cube, infect the computer, blah, 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 and finally let him out.
Yeah, that would have
Maybe.
been a creepy episode. Like, could you imagine? You know, Picard is just in his quarters, just reading a book, and all of a sudden Moriarty's
promised me,
face
Picard.
pops up on his view screen.
You
Picard,
lied to me.
You lied to me. Ugh.
How about Jeffrey Combs as Shran?
Oh, Jeffrey Combs is anybody.
Every character.
in that series.
Every
Jeffrey
character.
Combs is any character he plays in Star
Give
Trek.
him his own show. He's our next
Yeah.
captain.
Yeah.
Plays
He's really
every role.
talented.
That's a good idea.
Star Trek
And
Tran.
And he's played every role like it was fucking Hamlet. Man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
I mean, he's just balls in, balls deep, just ready to rock.
Because him as Shran, him as Wayun.
Oh,
God, I wanted to kill each and every one of the way you
Yep.
greaseball motherfuckers.
Except for number 5, no 6, the one that tried to defect. Because I kind of sympathized with him.
Did
was
he
loyal
actually
to Odo.
try to defect, or was he like, was that
think-
a trick?
I think it was a grift going on.
I think it was a trick. I
too.
never fell for that. I was like,
I don't know, man.
And in having more Shran, one of the big things that looking at my notes that I really wanted to see more of was because I loved Enterprise. First season, little shaky. The intro
Always.
killed it for me when it was
Yeah.
live. When they aired the series
When you
live,
can't skip
I couldn't
it.
get past through I couldn't get past the intro music. I'm like, this really isn't Star Trek, so I'm not even going to give the show a chance. Fast forward,
all the
a decade and a half.
franchises had a tough first year. They all did.
Yeah.
It's been a long
fast forward
road.
a decade and a half, and I watch it on Netflix. I'm like, wow, this was actually a really good show. And as a Star Trek fan, I got really into it. I would have liked to have seen what happened with the Xindi, because between Enterprise to TOS to TNG, there's no Xindi.
You know what I would have? You know what they should have done is they should have made the Xindi thing maybe a quarter of a season, maybe half, and that's stretching it. To make it an entire third season was a mistake, I think.
That's one of my pet peeves, taking an episode and making it into 2 episodes. Well, they took a small plot
Arc,
and made it into
yeah.
a whole season. It's
Well,
just,
yeah, exactly right, Hammer. The plot has to be able to support 2 shows, and they frequently diluted the plot, unfortunately.
Right, it's more of a subplot concept, right?
Right.
And
Some of the subplots are pointless.
they cycle in and cycle out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't do much. They don't really move the story along. They don't grab your interest. It's just a way to make time to sell soap.
Yeah.
And they did that sometimes. Yes, definitely.
You did
All
get
right.
the occasional sort of filler episode for that, like when they had to steal the warp core from, oh god, what was Gul Dukat's second in command?
The Dumar.
Damar, the guy who played Damar, played the alien captain. Thought it was really good. It was a really good self-contained episode within the sort of blasé, stretched out arc. I would have liked to have seen more of that if they were going to build over the entire season with the Xindi stuff. More sort of day in the life kind of one-off episodes within the greater arc. So you could begin with the attack on Earth, end with them stopping the war. But again, there was nothing. Even in the last season, they kind of pushed the Xindi stuff aside entirely and went with the Vulcan, Klingon, Earth first kind of people. I was just like, okay, what are you doing?
Like, so, and the frustrating thing about that third season is it came after Deep Space Nine, who managed to very artfully climax the Dominion War in like 6 or 7 episodes, interspersed with self-contained episodes.
I think they were just too concerned with showing the vastness of space and how far they had to travel on their, at the time, very limited technology and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we can all agree it didn't really connect fully like other series did.
man, I'll tell you, if I was in charge, I'd be brutal with DS9. I probably would do some serious work on Voyager too, but I'd be brutal on DS9.
What would you do?
Oh man.
I want to hear. I think this is interesting. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to tell you.
I can guess that, here's something I can guess, that there would be no Ferengi.
That would be one of them. But
Job one, huh?
there would be no Jake Sisko, there would be no Nog, there would be no Ferengi at all. The Doctor would be recast. There would be no Kieran Rees. The captain or commander would be recast. There's just too much. You've got like 14 characters in the show. I mean, even TNG was pushing the limits. 'Cause I get rid of a couple people there too.
Yeah, in fairness to DS9, DS9 was a different kind of show, and that they wanted to put him on a space station partially, I think, so that they could do more character development. I think
Yeah.
you just didn't like the characters. It's not that the
too many.
concept was wrong, or
No. I have no problem with the space station. Well, I do have a little bit of a problem with space station, but I don't have a problem with the space station in general as being a focus. If I can like Picard, I can certainly like DS9 in the respects that it's not the same as every other Trek.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them being on a space station. I think it's kind of a silly move, but they did it. It's fine. I can live with that. But I just think that they tried to incorporate too many people into the show. They saw how well the cast worked with TNG, but that cast only worked because it was that cast. When you move over to DS9 and say, okay, well, we had 9 people. Let's make it 14 people.
Yeah.
No. Let's make it 8 people. You know, it was just too much. They're trying to develop too many people, and because of that, they never really developed anybody correctly.
Yeah.
And the casting was awful.
I don't know if I would agree that they didn't develop anybody correctly. Of course, I like Cisco a lot better than you do, and
It took
it's
me
okay.
a while.
I just don't like the actor.
It took me
Yeah.
a long time to like Cisco. It took me longer to like Cisco than it did for me to like any other captain.
that's funny. He had me in one episode. I really like that guy.
No, I didn't. See, and because one of the big reasons I didn't like Cisco for a long time was because he didn't like my favorite captain. But
I'm
He
not
had a-
Picard.
he had a reason not to like
That
my
is
favorite.
adorable. You know how adorable that is.
That's exactly my reaction. It just
Because when I watched it and the way he was taught, like, it was just, for me, it was like, because Picard's, I grew
Like
up
my
with Picard,
favorite
and
captain.
just to listen to the way Cisco is talking to him, I'm like, you fucking insubordinate asshole. And then I was like, okay, why is he like that?
Yeah, not
Well-
everybody's gonna love Picard.
Well, and,
So I think
and-
the casting was. That really bothers me is the casting. They should not have had Avery Brooks. I would think that the guy who played Avery Brooks' father, Peters, what was his name? Brock Peters or something like that. The
he
actor's
was
name.
good too.
He would have been a great Cisco. I mean, if you want to fill your diversity quota, but I think he could have been a much stronger, clearer thinking actor than Avery Brooks. If I had my choice between the two of them, his name. What was his name?
I don't remember his name, but he was a very good actor.
Something. I think his name was Brock Peters. Let me look it up.
Not to go down the rabbit hole of why, but
Yeah,
I
it's
disagree
Brock
with
Peters.
you entirely. I think that the casting of that show was great, forward and backward.
Then why did they
Here's my controversial.
TNG to make it work?
Oh, what's your controversial?
Uh-oh.
All right, I think
That's
that.
falling apart.
I can't stand the fucking shape shifting shit. I think that
Oh,
Odo
Odo?
should have been just a fucking normal like being.
you're joking.
No, I'm not. No,
Oh
I'm
my
not.
god! I can't believe that you and I have this big a disagreement.
Dude.
God.
Well, I mean, come on. If you watch it now,
dare
you
you.
can see how horrible that shit aged. That CGI looks bad. I don't know, man.
The concept was amazing. If anything, I wish
Yeah,
he had
they
been
pull it off, though.
more developed and had more screen time.
I think
Yeah,
that.
no. Renee Ayer's right. Hold on now. He's a great actor.
Oh yeah.
And he elevated that role. All right. That was him, man. All right.
Again, another person who couldn't have played. There's nobody else who could have played Odo.
Renee, yeah.
Yeah.
You did good. You did great.
Well,
I think the reasons that Irene are pointing out are valid, but they don't apply globally. It was bad. The effects weren't that great, and I don't like the cosmetics they did on him either, and the way they didn't develop
Oh.
those cosmetics as they went along. So those are
if he
valid
can,
points.
if he can mimic a fucking falcon with perfect feathers and everything, he can give himself a nose and a fucking septum,
That's
and,
not-
and eyebrows and shit.
And
Okay.
we never get to see the Cardassian neck trick.
See the cobra neck.
I mean,
Which was an awesome idea, though.
as far as the
I liked it too.
shapeshifter sort of themes went, I think that there was only one episode that really did it for me, and that was when Laws came up. J.G. Hertzler, the guy who plays Martok, played Laws. who was another shapeshifter from completely removed from the Dominion as well, like Odo, but a couple hundred years older and had a very different outview on the galaxy
Yes.
than Odo did. And you got to see a little bit more of Odo's innocence. No, not innocence. Inexperience, immaturity in the grand galaxy sort of theme in his own world as the noir detective on a space station. Like, sure, he was a master at his craft, but outside of that bubble, he was a child.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
And him Renee playing off of JG one-on-one in some of those scenes, I was just like, oh, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Less of his with the female changeling irate, that kind of stuff was kind of
Oh,
that
my God.
psycho bitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. And the whole river planet thing, I mean, it's like, oh, Jesus, so dumb. It was, that was like the hugest, I think, the biggest mistake they made was, making the founders shapeshifters, okay? I think they could have been humanoid species that, I don't think the shapeshifting thing, I think they really just wanted to try out the effects, see what they could do with it. I mean, that's...
Well, we're on a space station. We got to spend our budget on something.
I kind of like the concept of a shapeshifter because in both Odo's case and the Founder's case, what better way to infiltrate, right? Like,
yeah, of course,
if you're
yeah.
a founder, what better way to infiltrate your enemy than to be a shapeshifter? And if you're Odo, what better way to observe shit that shouldn't be happening on the station? If you're a table.
Yeah, as Elwyn says, the river planet orgy can die in a fire. Yeah, it was, you see, that's the definitive cringe right there.
My biggest pet peeve
And it's
with
sexual. Like, no.
my biggest pet peeve with Deep Space Nine was them turning Cisco into like Christ. Them killing Cisco or that.
And then he
pissed me off.
ascends and
Yeah. He's
It
definitely
was
on a messianic
unnecessarily-
path.
That was a writing failure, though.
Yeah, that is not what I would have done. Like, because first of all, it was too messianic, which is he fought against that the whole frickin' series, right? He didn't want to be the emissary,
Take a drink.
Kind of like Jesus.
and then it was unnecessarily sad. Like, you don't want to. Star Trek is not supposed yes, they just finished a war. So it's not going to be
there's loss.
There's already loss, right? We don't need more to end the series.
It was needlessly. It was trying to build dramatic tension and just have something be an overarching, overwhelming emo moment. And
I would have been
it was a fail. That was a fail.
I would have been even more happy if the final shot was just him standing at the window of his office and the camera just pans away. Boom. Series done. No need to turn him into bald Jesus.
No.
Bald black Jesus.
Bald black Jesus, yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
No, I was not happy with the end of Deep Space Nine. It was I was actually more upset with the end of Deep Space Nine than I was with the end of Voyager.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, there's needless sadness here, and you shouldn't be ending no matter what happens in the Trek series is that we watch, right? There's the sense of finality, right? And there's the sense of, yes, things may have happened that were sad and upsetting, but there's not this crushing sense of unnecessary loss and unnecessary the way that they set it up, they're like, is he dead? Is he stuck in the wormhole? Is he coming back? There was no...
It's unnecessary.
It was open-ended.
There's always that underpinning of life continues, the galaxy goes on, people thrive and survive. And like you said, there was a lot of tragedy. Beta Z gets invaded. The Earth, Starfleet gets infiltrated. You know, the last few good episodes of the last season of DS9, Cardassians are being executed en masse by Jem'Hadar soldiers. You know, they're trying to liberate these people who got duped into the whole Dominion thing, and we lose some big characters. And then to put it back on Cisco, okay, maybe, you know, you can still do the fire caves and the Pa race. You had that theme the whole series, fine. But then having, like you said, the is he here? Is he not? Is he dead? Is his spirit incorporeal now, living with the Prophet? Like, come on, no, stop it. He's a Starfleet officer. Should have ended with him being a Starfleet officer.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
And like the added tragedy of like him and Cassidy actually ended up getting married afterward, like
retiring to
and then
I think that would be a little too sugary though, a little too
No, but I mean, like they could have had him get married but not retire to Bajor, right? And him and Cassidy could have, like, she could have been a captain's wife, right? And they could have, like,
well, they're both captains.
Well, exactly, but like she could have been, you know.
That makes for some really awkward pillow talk, I tell you.
But they didn't need to add the tragedy of the grieving wife, the grieving pregnant wife,
and son and
crew after the war. Like, that was not necessary.
They're just heaping on all this sort of just awful
Star
stuff.
Trek is not supposed to end a series by kicking you in the heart. That's not how it's supposed to end.
It's funny because that's what they do in every episode of STD and Picard. Don't ever watch Picard, BP. Please do me this favor.
I watched
right
the
now.
first season. I watched the first season, and I'm not gonna lie. During the whole scene where they're making Picard into an android, before I realized he was an android, I was a fountain. I was sad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they killed Picard, no, right? But yeah, I was so not happy with the way that they wrote the end of Deep Space Nine. It was unnecessary emotional, you know, stuff. And Voyager was frustrating to me, but at least it made some sense.
Yeah, they were driving at an okay pace, and all of a sudden they just floored it off the cliff.
Voyager's the lady captain, right?
Can I flip it over to TOS for a minute? Because I loved Harry Mudd.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I was going to say that too. Jesus. Holy shit.
I almost flew out of my chair.
You son of a bitch.
Mudd's women,
such
man.
a great character.
And
they try to reinsert him. They did it in Star Trek Darkness or Birth of Darkness or whatever the hell that crap was, and in STD, and they make mention of him. I think it was.
There was clones. Yeah, Rainn Wilson played the clones. Of Harry Mudd. But Harry Mudd, that was a great actor, and he owned that part.
Yeah, who was it? Was it Zero Mostel or somebody?
No. His name is, I'll tell you right now because I got it pulled up. Roger C. Cormell.
Yeah, Carmel.
Or Carmel. My bad, Carmel.
Roger C. Carmel. I know that guy. I know.
Dude, a character actor, big time from the '60s and '70s, and all kinds of shit. Yes.
I know exactly who.
Yeah, Grill and Pirate Pete said, did they ever explain why a Romulan has an Irish accent? I'm assuming he's referring to Picard's housekeepers.
And then there's that. He's got a good point.
It was really jarring when any alien had a very distinctive earthy accent that you could place, like Irish or Scottish or British or what have you. So
British
weird.
is a little bit more because like Malcolm McDowell can take his British accent and still turn himself into an evil alien. Like, you know,
And
but
Malcolm McDowell can pretty much do anything.
yeah. But if you've got, you know, like a Scotsman or an Irishman, you know, or it's just, ugh, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Hey, here's an interesting playtime activity for us, possibly, and that would be to if you could have written either some part of an episode, or some some piece of writing in Star Trek that you would have liked to take a crack at and had some fun with, which one would it be?
That's a good question.
And I will tell you mine right now. Once you have their money, you never give it back. The best deal is the one that brings the most profit. Money is everything. Never spend more for an acquisition than you have to. Sedition and treason are always profitable. Always exaggerate your estimates. Never allow family to stand in the way of opportunity. Keep your ears open. Small print leads to large risk. Opportunity plus instinct equals profit. Greed is eternal. Anything worth doing is worth doing for money. Sometimes the quickest way to find profits is to let them find you. Dead men close no deals.
It's always
A
good
deal
to
is a
suck
deal
up to the
until
boss.
a better one comes along. Anyway, I would have loved to have been having, you know, we want you to write the rules of acquisition. I hope they would have come out as good as this because I just dearly love the Ferengi rules of
When
acquisition.
the messenger comes to appropriate your profits, kill the messenger.
Kill the messenger.
Or when Zek is having his little orb euphoria and he's rewriting the rules.
Yeah.
And Rom trying to decipher. Maybe it's coded.
The flimsier the product, the higher the price. You know, there's so much good stuff in here. It's just amazing.
Oh man. Let's see.
I had to write something.
Yeah. What would you have liked to? What was something that was just struck you as so cool? You would have liked to have been a part of that.
Kang, Koloth, and Kor?
Oh, the
Three Klingons.
Three Klingons
That were friends with Curzon,
Yeah.
who've had interactions with Kirk. I would have liked to have seen and written some sort of story. I think Enterprise would have been too early, much too early.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could interject myself somewhere into the TNG timeline and have them interacting in some way with the Federation again, with the new the next generation, with maybe not Picard. Maybe have a one-off episode where I don't know, Data's at the command, and the Klingons are acting like Klingons. These are war heroes. These are, you know, very Klingon-y Klingons, and they're trying to start shit. And being who he is, Data doesn't really fully grasp how they work because he's been studying humanity, and what he knows of Klingons he's seen sort of stereotypically on screen from the very Klingon-y Klingons, but from Worf mostly.
Yeah.
Who is, for all intents and purposes, very humanized.
Yes.
So just to see maybe a little bit of play, it could be a little bit more jovial in how Data's kind of reacting. Yes, there's still threat. There still might be some underpinnings of, okay, well, we don't want to start a shooting war with the Klingon Empire, even though they've got a small fleet and they're trying to antagonize Data. And maybe, yeah. I like Klingons. What can I say?
I like Klingons too. They're fun.
Again,
Klingons were brilliant.
DS9 gave us so much more into what the diversity of the Klingons and their culture is. Same thing with the Ferengi, and that's what I love the most about DS9. It was more like, here's some aliens. Let's look more at them beyond stereotypes.
And we'll have a Klingon fall in love with a Ferengi.
Yes.
God. I still, every time I pictured the end of that episode where they're in the infirmary,
Dax and Worf and Grilka and Quark.
That's just a great. That's
and
one of my favorite.
Like, nope, not gonna ask any questions.
And Julian's just like, I'm just going to treat you. Oh my god, yes. Let's see. I probably would have liked maybe to come up with something to do with maybe a holodeck episode, but to make it a good holodeck episode, because the holodeck is underused, I think, and not underused, misused. There are some great holodeck episodes, like the Moriarty ones.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then there are some shitty holodeck episodes, like the Captain Proton ones.
Captain Proton, that's one thing I just can't fucking stand.
I skipped the Bride of Chaotica now that it's on Netflix. I'm just like, nope.
Yep.
That one's a bad one, but I like the one with the aliens from the 8th dimension or whatever. The 5th dimension.
And I also skipped the New Haven or Fairhaven or whatever.
Oh god,
yeah.
Yes.
It was badly used.
Catherine, you're getting a little weird. Stop it.
Yeah.
It's overused on TNG and badly used on Voyager.
Voyager, yes. And so I would like to write maybe one really good holodeck episode that kind of utilizes the more, serious stakes of the Moriarty stuff, like not just some throwaway stupid laugh episode. Like I would have some pretty high stakes. Like the one good episode where the holodeck was used on Voyager was The Killing Game. That was a great use of the holodeck.
Is that the one where they all get sucked into the computer?
That's the one with the Hirogen, and they
right?
And they use the neural interfaces and to make the crew believe.
Oh, the one I'm thinking of is the Our Man Bashir.
Yeah, but something with like really high stakes. I would like to write an episode of like a good, riveting, possibly even slightly scary holodeck episode.
Because that one was pretty scary. How the Hirogen programmed the holograms to feel their deaths every time.
Yeah. And to make
that's
the
just
crew
mean, man.
And to make the crew like believe that they're part of the
scenarios
simulation, scenarios,
and then they don't remember.
Yeah. That's what I would like to do. I would like to do something like that.
I think they were a little worried when it came to the Hirogen to make them too Klingon-y.
I think they did a good job in making them a little like not the same as the Klingons.
They didn't make them Klingons; they made them predators.
Pretty much, yeah.
Predators without the mouth.
Yeah.
As far as they interact with, remember the tech guy? He was kind of looked down on by the hunters.
Yeah,
I would have thought that do something different than you had. Same kind of scenario you had sort of with Klingons and people who weren't warriors. In the Hirogen society, you could have made them actually revere the engineers, like almost to the point of holy figures, that they are equipping the hunters. They are making the hunters the best that they can be, and almost sort of grim darky in a sense, where they would, and I'm kind of borrowing a little bit from the Warhammer universe, where they would replace parts of their body with tech to better serve the hunters, sort of giving up that self-sacrifice to their holy mandate of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Just push it a little bit further. I think they were great. I just, if I'm nitpicking, I would have liked maybe a little bit of a push away from the similarities in their society between Klingons. Because I've told you before, I would love to have seen more erosion.
Yeah. Now here's a question that we can end the stream on. If we can, and if we're using the hindsight discussion idea, if we were back in the days of the original series and we knew that the third season was the last season, what episode idea would you have ended the series on instead of Turnabout Goddamn Intruder?
I'd have to write a new one.
Yeah. Like, how would you have ended TOS?
For as bad as Turnabout Intruder was, I would still leave it in because it's content. But
yeah, I would have kept it as an episode. But
yeah, what
not,
was it? Like, how many episodes were in the last season? There were less than normal, right?
Yeah, it was 16 instead of 24.
Something
Is that
like
what
that.
what it was? I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just add a 17th and do it right. Have him come home, turn the Enterprise over to a new crew. Your 5 years is over, that kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have definitely kept Turnabout Intruder as an episode, just not the
last
ending
one.
episode.
That was
Probably-
back in the day when they yanked something, they yanked it.
Yeah.
It was, there was no, well, let's end it gracefully. No,
No.
we say stop, you stop now.
Yeah.
I would have ended it with Star Trek 2.
You think so?
Wrath of Khan, yeah. Maybe a little too dark for the ending of the series, but
That
something
takes the
akin to
movie
that.
off the table, and that was a fantastic movie.
That was maybe my choice for the best Star Trek movie.
What, Wrath of Khan?
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, hands down.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
think I
can't
would've
think of
written-
anything I like better.
Yeah, I could. I think I would definitely write a new ending with a more appropriate ending. Something where the ship's beat up, they're coming home, fanfare, the kind of ending that Voyager should have had. Would have been a great ending for the original series. I think people would have been a lot more happy with an ending like that.
Man Squatch says, I wonder what Wrath of Khan would look like for a TOS episode. Well, there is the reason Wrath of Khan was not a TOS episode was because the TOS episode that established the Wrath of Khan was shit. What the fuck was the name of it?
Botany, was it called Botany Bay?
No, I don't know if it
I
was
can't
called.
remember.
I can't believe I can't remember that.
Botany Bay. Botany Bay.
Botany Bay.
We've got to get out of
Bay.
here. Oh no.
Space
That was a
Seed.
great
Thank
part of the
you, Man
movie.
Space
Squatch.
Seed.
Thank you, Man
Yes.
Squatch. Space Seed, yes.
Space Seed, yeah, of course.
And that was
Oh,
season. Was that season 2 or 3? I can't remember which season that was.
I thought it was earlier in the show. I think it was more like 2.
67.
Okay, so it was 2.
No, it was season 1.
Was it season
Kurt-
1?
Season 1, yeah, it was episode 22 of season 1,
Oh,
actually.
damn.
Ricardo
And-
Montalban. Oh my god, that man just terrifies me.
He did such a good mean.
I've got it as episode 24, but
Isn't that
Who
funny?
are-
They
who's
could be on
counting?
the love
Yeah.
boat.
I see what you did there.
So genial on the love boat, and then you turn around and he's like the most evil person in space.
Yeah.
He tasks me.
And I shall have it.
Tasks me, and I shall have him.
Man, I'm getting chills. Stop it. I just rewatched all the TOS movies. Sorry. I just it's such a low, then high, then low, then high, then low, then.
I'm rewatching House.
Ah,
Oh, I love House.
Pink Hollow has
Classic
been
stuff.
watching Law and Order right now. And they only have it from season 10 up. They don't have. all
Yeah,
10.
that disappointed me.
Well, my friends, I think we've reached the natural conclusion of the
At
show.
exactly 6 o'clock. How perfect is that?
We're all kind of winding down.
And so I'd like to thank everybody for watching and everybody on the panel for joining me. And it is now shilling time. And Skip and Functional, you will be with Harry tonight, correct?
Giggity.
Will.
All right. And Irate, who are you interviewing tomorrow?
Tomorrow will be the lovely Kessa, Johnny Bonsaco's better half. And
Okay.
and Virgie next week.
And then you're doing Becca. You and Becca are doing something on Monday as well.
Yes, ma'am. It's always about communism, the Cold War, and how communism bad.
All right.
Fairly.
Yeah.
Back
And
fairly.
the coffee stream will be returning on Monday because the 4-year-old will be returning to preschool. So I will not have to wrangle 2 children.
Am I on next week?
So what we're gonna do, because Functional and I couldn't stream this past week,
Okay.
is we're gonna switch Wednesdays. So this coming Wednesday is gonna be Functional, and then it's gonna be you. So we kind of have to
Some
do
big goings on in Canada. BP and I are kind of foaming at the mouth to
Oh
sort of get out
yeah,
there.
and
Okay.
I still have my story.
Yeah, story.
My story.
I can't wait for it.
So, and of course, I will be doing a Beat the Blind Girl tonight after the kids go to bed. So that'll be over on Twitch. So, thank you all for watching, and we will see you next Saturday. I will talk to you guys off air about an idea. And the Saturday after that, I'm going to have no stream. I will be away visiting my friend. So that'll be the 21st.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, so we'll see you all next Saturday for more Star Trek. And thanks everybody for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
buddy.
July
Bye, guys.
Prune.